Back last November, we did elect a new congressman, and there were, I think, 21 or 22 people in the race. I think there were 12 Republicans in the primary, and I was fortunate enough to get to go to about 7 of the forums to watch the debates, and each time I would go, I wanted to go because I knew I would be working with whoever the winner was going to be. So I went and I would watch them closely, listen to what they had to say. And every time this person was right there at the top with several others. There were a lot of great candidates in there that really fought hard. And it was a very close race. But this candidate, I really liked what he had to say and liked his message. And he was there for fighting against terror, ending illegal immigration, standing up for West Tennessee values, and creating an environment for jobs, which is huge. So I would like to introduce our new Congressman, Congressman David Kustoff. Thank you.
Yeah, Senator Jackson said he almost promoted me. Well, I'm happy where I am, but thank you very much. Well, Chairman Mike, where did you go, Mike? Okay, back in the back. I want to congratulate you on, this is a really successful dinner, but I know where the real credit goes because I know who set this up, and that's the Madison County Republican women. So Madison County Republican women, thank you very much. This is great. Especially like there's no election this year. And this shows the strength of the Republican Party in Madison County. My wife Roberta is here with me this evening, and we couldn't be more proud to be here and to represent the 8th Congressional District. And Congressman Fincher, if I could ask you to stand up, just stand up for a minute. I want to tell you, people around this district in West Tennessee, I hear it all the time how much they appreciated your leadership, and the folks in Washington, how much they enjoyed serving with you. We appreciate you. We appreciate your leadership, Congressman. Thank you. You know, there's so many, I've got so many good friends who are here tonight, a lot of longtime friends, Jimmy Exum and Joey Hargrove, and probably Steve Maroney, who I've known longer than just about anybody, and Judge John Everett Williams, just a lot of good friends. And I tell you that one thing I think that we all know is that civics is not taught very much in schools anymore. In a lot of schools it's not taught at all. So for the gubernatorial candidates who are here this evening, if I could, just a little civics lesson. First of all, in West Tennessee, we really appreciate you being here this evening. Now, the civics lesson is that Tennessee is divided into 3 grand divisions: East, Middle, and West. And I do want to let you know that past the Tennessee River, there is another section going west. And we appreciate you remembering us as you continue to campaign. And I'll tell you something else. Senator Stevens, Governor Ramsey last year told me that the most Republican congressional district in the state is the 8th Congressional District. So we look forward to seeing you all a lot here. And then after whoever gets elected, we want to see you a lot here. So thank you very much. I got to tell you, it is really good to be back, and it's good to be back home because it's been busy this month in Congress. I know this is hard for you to believe, but Donald Trump has us working, and he has us working hard. You know, it's funny, and we heard some of this, but it wasn't that long ago, just a few months ago, in Madison County and in West Tennessee, we were all having different conversations before this election. The future of our country was very unclear, even though we had 2 very clear choices at the top of the ticket. We were all working hard in West Tennessee and across the state to make sure that our nominee was going to win in November. But I'm going to tell you, the experts told us that we were going to have real trouble. And not only that, that we were likely to lose the United States Senate, and that we had a chance maybe even of losing the House of Representatives. It was a real challenging time for the Republican Party nationally and for our country. But as I went around the country and around this district, people were frustrated. I heard over and over again, they said, Washington is broken. You need to go there and shake things up and straighten them up. They were tired and fed up with the broken promises. And I've got to tell you, on November 8th, it got to be later in the evening, and it looked like there was a real possibility that things were going to turn out the right way. I purposely, after I knew my results, I turned on the TV and I watched on purpose George Stephanopoulos and Lester Holt. And I'm going to tell you, they went from being giddy to like they were broadcasting a funeral where it looked like Donald Trump was going to win this election. And they fooled everybody. But what I heard, and I tell you, I heard, and I believe this, what I heard over and over again, 3 nights after the election, I spoke at a Farm Bureau event. Somebody came up to me, and I think about this every day. He said, rural America spoke, and rural America elected Donald Trump. And that is exactly right. That is exactly right. I cannot tell you how proud I am to be serving in a Republican-led House of Representatives, to be working with some conservative Republicans in the Senate and a Republican president. But the real work starts now and has started. And I want to talk to you about what we can do to help folks here in the 8th Congressional District. I don't think anybody would deny here that Donald Trump took the oath of office just a few weeks ago and has hit the ground running. The people in the media say, Donald Trump is doing X or he's doing Y, and I think this is what he told people he was going to do for a year and a half campaigning. He has done exactly what he promised to do, and for that I say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. What we've seen is we've seen people talk about the issues too long, but ignoring them for too long. Issues like immigration, like border security, terrorism, working at rebuilding our infrastructure, our national debt, which is almost $21 trillion, and fixing our broken health care system. Now, one thing that I think that we can all agree that Donald Trump has done and he promised he would do is nominate a good conservative man to be on the United States Supreme Court in Judge Neil Gorsuch. And you think about the shoes that he's going to fill, filling those of Justice Scalia. Justice Scalia was a remarkable man, a terrific jurist, an ardent defender of the Constitution, and maybe one of the greatest to ever sit on the bench. Now, despite Barack Obama's determined effort to legislate from the White House, we saw time and time again just how important our court system is to the balance of power. We saw it last night when the Ninth Circuit issued their opinion. When our former president tried to restructure our immigration laws, the courts stopped him because they said it was wrong. When our former president tried to extend mandatory overtime pay, the courts stopped him because he was wrong. As a lawyer and as a former United States attorney, I can't overstate the importance of having true conservatives on the bench, someone and people who represent our values, and someone who will strongly defend our Second Amendment rights. Someone who will recognize that life begins at conception and uphold and rule that that is the law of the land. And frankly, someone who will uphold the Constitution as it was written by our founding fathers. Now, I do want to talk to you about some things that we're working on as it relates to our health care system. We all know that Obamacare is broken. There is no question about it. And as I go across the district, and you all hear it, Senator Stevens, you hear it, Representative Eldridge, you hear it, people can't afford to continue to pay their premiums. Dr. Kirkland knows this, and you probably retired about the right time because it ain't no fun. It's tough for the providers. It's tough for individuals as they see their premiums rise, their deductibles rise, doctors having to merge, hospitals having a tough time with their reimbursements. We are in the process of repealing and replacing Obamacare, and it starts right now. And Congressman Fincher, you know this, last night the Senate, early this morning, approved a really good man to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services, your former colleague, and mine, Dr. Tom Price. He is a brilliant man, an orthopedic surgeon. He is going to be able to do a lot administratively, and he knows where to go and where to look. I'm telling you that fixing our health care system is a top priority for me, and I know it's a top priority for you. It's time that we put patients and doctors in control of health care and get it out of Washington. And I've got to tell you that I know that many of us here elected Donald Trump with national security firmly in mind. The sad truth is our country has become less safe and less secure and less strong over the last 8 years. It seems like and it feels like we have new threats every day. So we've got to get serious about protecting our country from ISIS and radical Islamic forces. Now, I'm glad that President Trump is reviewing our immigration laws. He understands it. And what he can't do by executive order, we're committed to doing in Congress. As it relates to jobs and economic growth, President Trump and our Congress have started looking at our economic policies. I was really honored to be picked to serve on a committee that Congressman Fincher served on, which is the Financial Services Committee. It regulates banking and insurance, among other things. And I served on a community bank. I'm going to tell you that once we can work on reducing our tax rates for individuals and for businesses, and banks can start lending money again, and people can start borrowing money again, it is going to be a boon for folks across the country and for West Tennessee. And I'm going to tell you that I'm going to work with the Trump administration each and every day to bring more jobs, higher wages, and greater economic freedom to the 8th Congressional District. Because today, you're going to be in control of your financial independence. And I'm going to tell you, I hadn't been there that long, but I listen to these Democrats and the bureaucrats, and they talk about April 15th like a 6-year-old boy talks about Christmas morning. They are just giddy about it. We've got to work to restore that control back to the individuals, and we're doing it. Outside of the committee that I'm serving on, I'm co-sponsoring legislation to protect our Second Amendment rights. I feel that it's very important. I am working on the Concealed Carry Reciprocal Act, and what that does is that allows anybody with a permit to go across state lines just like you do with your driver's license, to protect our Second Amendment rights. Last week, Congress voted to pass the No Taxpayer Funding for Abortions Act, ensuring that the federal government will never again fund an abortion, and I was proud to vote for that. And soon we're going to begin discussing and voting on defunding Planned Parenthood, and I'm going to be a yes vote for that as well. In the 8th Congressional District, we have about 10,000 farm operations here in the 8th District and in West Tennessee, making us the #1 congressional district for agricultural production in Tennessee. Last week, I was honored with Congressman Diane Black. We wrote a letter to President Trump urging him to undo President Barack Obama's dark fire tobacco rule. This rule would set a high standard for smokeless tobacco products and bring even more regulations on tobacco farmers and manufacturers here in the 8th Congressional District. And I think that's just wrong. I signed on as an original sponsor of the Reducing Regulatory Burdens Act, and that's to get rid of mandates in the agriculture industry that are time-consuming and wasteful. We're working hard on cutting back the regulations that Barack Obama imposed over the last 8 years. And thank you. And I'm working hard already with my colleagues on the next farm bill, which is this current one is set to expire in 2018. You know, I go back to when this congressional race started, and Roberta and I were concerned about the future of our country. We've got 2 small children, because we may be the first generation of parents that our country is not as good for our children as it has been for each and every generation before it. And I think about that each and every day. Every day that I vote, and every vote that I've had so far, I think about 2 things. I think about what's best, what do my citizens and constituents in the 8th District, how do they want me to vote? That's number 1. And number 2, what's in the best interest of the country? And ladies and gentlemen, each and every vote that I've taken, they have been perfectly aligned. And I'm really proud, of all of you. And I've got to tell you, we have an ambitious schedule in Washington, D.C. I think that over the next 6 to 9 months, as we talk about health care, we talk about the economy and taxes and national security, you're going to see a lot happen. A lot of good things and positive things happen over those next 6 to 8 to 9 months. I'm proud to represent our conservative West Tennessee values in Washington, D.C. I'm proud to come back home every weekend, but most importantly, I'm proud to represent y'all, and I thank you very much.